This episode contains upsetting topics which are not suitable for anybody under the age of 18. Please proceed with caution. I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Nikki Druce.
And this is Killers, Cults and Queens.
The podcast where we journey to the spookiest, scariest and downright weirdest corners of the world.
Today, we're exploring the prison escape no one thought would ever happen. We're off to Alcatraz. Arr, my hearties, get the gold.
Yar! My friends.
The shark babies.
Yes.
Al Capone, who was also known as Scarface, which is giving very no legs energy.
Oh, poor no legs.
No legs. You can't make this shit up. Are you ready?
I've got my prison outfit on. I'm ready to go.
Fabulous prison outfit. Let's go. Imagine being shoved into a cell with no chance of getting out. The prison in question that you've been sent to is a genius work of engineering, and more like a fortress than your bulk standard jailhouse. This place was built to keep you in, and you've got no chance of leaving unless you serve a very long sentence. So the only thing you can do is hatch a plan to escape. The only problem? You're on an island in the ocean. Welcome to Killers, Cults and Queens. But before we don our wetsuits, how's your week been, Nikki Druce?
I've been pretty good, thank you. We've had a bit of a nightmare this morning, haven't we? Getting ready and getting here and ready to record. I had a bus journey from hell where I had to change bus, and also my tube was highly delayed, so I had to get a bus. She's on a bus, girls. And it was a nightmare. And you also had a similar terrible time getting here, didn't you?
You know, the one day when, full disclosure, everybody, I have not stopped all week. And you know when you're just like, the one day you need the travel, the commute, and everybody to be on your side. And lo and behold, delays, car crashes, accidents, oh my. And it's just like, look, these things can't be helped. But, core blimey geezer, mate. I just needed somebody to be on my side so I could have a sandwich.
But we're here now, and we're going to have a lovely record.
Yes!
So we're all good, but yeah, just the text going back between us this morning on the chat was like, oh, this is getting worse. Oh, no, I'm stuck now. Oh, no, now my bus driver has just left my bus.
And I went out the wrong exit down the far end and had to do another 15-minute lap just to get here.
Yeah, so it's been a tricky morning, but we've got some fun stories to get through today. And yeah, this one I'm really intrigued by because I don't know loads about it, I have to say.
Well, do you want a little insider tea?
Go on, man.
I've been to Alcatraz.
Oh, that's exciting. Tell me more.
Do you remember back when I was in Los Angeles and I almost shit myself?
Tale as old as time at this point on this podcast.
Old as time. But back in 2016, I went from LA up to San Fran, and obviously Alcatraz is just on the to-do list. So it was a very dreary morning, which made for a very apt trip to the island, but I will divulge more as we get through the episode.
Okay, I'm excited. So you've got insider knowledge on this one, so you know it, so you can sense yourself being there.
Now, today's story is a little bit different because we're championing some criminals escaping, which we don't usually do, but we're off to the city by the bay and visiting good old Alcatraz. Okay, set the scene.
Okay.
You're in the harbour, you're looking out to the sea, the Golden Gate Bridge, bright and red is in the distance, and right in front of you is a big fuck-off eyesore hovering in the middle of the sea. It's about 3 tiers up from what the actual base is.
Okay.
So you can't miss it. It is huge. But to get there is a 35-minute boat journey.
Is it? I really just assumed that it would be like 5 minutes, if that.
Let me just fact check.
Did it feel like 35 minutes?
Hey Siri, how long is the boat journey from the bay to Alcatraz?
Sorry, I can't tell how long it will take to get that location.
from Heathrow to Alcatraz Island is 5,343 miles. Bit of a commute.
Bit of a trip, yeah.
12 to 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. There we go.
It's still long.
Yeah,
It's
that is a
far
long
enough
trip.
away on a hefty boat to
Yeah,
get
you know.
15 minutes across.
That's like from Portsmouth to the Isle of Wight on a hovercraft.
Sure. But it is a faraway distance to keep everybody away. The sea is very choppy. So if you're seasick or you get travel sick, make sure you get those tabbies in.
I don't think I'd be very good with it, that's for sure. I am a seasick person.
But as you can imagine, out far away, up high, and choppy conditions, it's not going to be your easiest thing to escape from, is it?
No, not at all. I can imagine that it's actually quite scary for the prisoners going there because they're like, well, this is where I live now. There's no chance of me getting out of here before I've done my sentence.
Well, scary to some, not so scary to others, and we will find out whom. But shall we set the scene?
Yes, go right ahead.
That's fabulous. It's an overcast morning on June 12th, 1962, inside the confines of Alcatraz prison in San Francisco, California. As the inmates start to stir for the day, the guards are going around and checking everybody is getting up and out of bed. But it seems 3 men in one cell aren't waking from their slumber. But the guards are busy, so they keep moving along, rattling bars and knocking on cell doors, making sure everybody is up and at 'em. But on a second loop around, these 3 sleepyheads are still tucked up in bed. This calls for some action, so one guard reaches through the bars to shake the man awake. But when he does so, his head comes off in his hands.
What?
The man's head then falls onto the floor and pieces start falling off of the head.
Oh, okay.
Something isn't right and the guards are deeply confused. They instantly raise the alarms and get permission to enter the cell, where they find that all the so-called inmates are actually just fake heads with pillows for bodies, and the prison is thrown into total shutdown because there is a breakout. But where are these men? How did they manage to get out of the world's most secure prison? And more importantly, did they survive? Let's find out.
Oh, this is my favourite thing that we do on KCQ is these little mysteries where it's quite high stakes, isn't it? Getting out and finding out whether they've actually made it and that sort of stuff. And, oh, it's exciting.
It's the thrill of it. We love it.
Yeah. I obviously don't know what these men have done, so they could be absolutely terrible people.
Yeah, look, let's just preface. You know we like to find the light and the humour in this podcast. We're not championing criminals from 1962.
No.
These are some bad bastards,
Okay.
especially if they've ended up in this prison.
Yeah.
And we'll get into how you actually end up at Alcatraz, because you've got to do a lot of fucked up things to get there.
Oof, but it's exciting though. I'm kind of rooting for them at the moment. I might not be later on down the line, but now I'm like, yeah, you go, you get out of there.
You go, Glen Coco.
You go, Glen Coco.
So to begin today's story, let's explore the origin story of Alcatraz and take it all the way back to the very beginning, when a Spanish explorer named Juan Manuel de Ayala, apologies if I pronounced that wrong, bobbed along the ocean in 1775 and saw 3 little islands in what he would map as the San Francisco Bay Area. He named one of these islands Alcatrazes. The island more than likely had pelicans living on it, and Alcatrazes means strange bird, or to that effect.
A bit like me.
My Nikki Druce, my strange bird.
Pelican.
As the years passed and English-speaking people took over the area, they started calling it Alcatraz. Well, we're going to fast forward quite a few years to 1850, and the government was looking for somewhere to build a big fortress to protect the bay. San Francisco had been pretty lucky in the gold rush, and business was booming. So by building a big fuck-off fortress on top of an island, they had a way to spot marauders coming and going, and could warn people in the port to unload the boats before they were looted. Arr, my hearties, get the gold.
Yar!
And a bottle of rum in my tum.
Yo ho ho!
Well, I think we'd make great pirates.
Yeah, maybe we should do a pirate episode.
Yeah, why have we not done that in 5 seasons?
I don't know, we've just never come around to it.
Okay, you get an exclusive, everyone.
Maybe some lady pirates.
This big boy of a fortress was hastily constructed, and bits were added over the years until it took up quite a considerable amount of the island. It even had the first ever lighthouse on the west coast of the United States, so we're talking no expenses spared, all top tier stuff.
Impressive.
Now, just after it was finished being built, we start to see the fortress being used not only as a defense point, but as a place to keep some unsavory characters. Whilst the building wasn't originally designed to be a prison, it made for a pretty good one. It was built on a rock, which gave it the nickname Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really just kidding. It's called The Rock.
I would love it if it was called Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
What are you up to today? Oh, I'm just going to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What? His house? No, Alcatraz.
I've heard it's 35 minutes away.
Shut up. And the ocean surrounding Alcatraz was rough, very cold, and also home to the occasional great white shark. And trust me, I did try and spot them on my 35-minute commute.
My friends!
The shark babies.
Yes!
As the years went by, the military tore down the original fortress, just leaving the basement, which they turned into cells. They then moved in military prisoners to build their own prison. Work smarter, not harder.
Well, it does make sense, doesn't it?
When the prison was completed in 1911, the military housed hundreds of prisoners there, but by 1933, they moved out and sold it to the US Department of Justice. The Prison Bureau was really interested in Alcatraz because it offered so many things they were looking for. You'll remember from our Bonnie and Clyde episode that crime was rampant during the 1930s because of the invention of these new powerful guns and fast cars, and the popo just could not keep up. Regular prisons couldn't cope with the gangsters, and people were breaking out or being broken out of prison all the bloody time. Alcatraz offered a solution. A high security prison for the worst offenders. A place the bad guys could be sent to where they would never see the light of day again. For certain prisoners who had escaped multiple times from mainland prisons, they were shipped off to Alcatraz, as it was a fearsome place which was said to be entirely unescapable. Alcatraz was all about reform. If you were a troublemaker at another prison, you could find yourself on Alcatraz. It wasn't overcrowded, with under 300 inmates, and this was to lead to good results with prisoners learning to behave.
That's the first time I think that we've heard that reform is actually working inside a prison. Usually it's like, oh yeah, no, they're trying their best, but nah, nobody's paying attention to any of that stuff.
Well, reform's definitely not working in this country, is it?
That's for sure.
This was not a level 1 prison. This was a transfer option for people who had already been behind bars. When transfers occurred, inmates were taken back to a basic level. Shelter, food and water, prison uniform and access to a doctor were the only things prisoners were promised. Everything else had to be earned. Misbehave and you'll go back to square one. It was tough, but a lot of prisoners actually benefited and respected the strict routine which they'd more than likely missed when living a life of crime. Some prisoners thrived at Alcatraz. It was tough, but they learned that the only way to progress through life was to stick to the rules. Some prisoners were eventually rewarded with visits from family, even fun creative things like materials to paint and draw, and even given musical instruments to play in their cells. Of course, prison's prisoner has its downsides. It wasn't as awful as some of the other ones they could be stuck in.
It seems a little bit like it's a more holistic approach to looking after the prisoners. So the fact that they're doing things like making music and creating art and stuff, that's actually really nice things for prisoners to be able to do. It's not just the same repetitive things over and over and over again. And back then, a lot of these people just would have grown up knowing only crime. crime. So the fact that they're able to try some things that they probably wouldn't have been able to have an opportunity to do outside in their daily lives, it's quite a nice thing.
I think it's a good example of good behaviour gets good rewards, and good rewards reap good behaviour.
Yeah.
So it's just that circle of, oh, if you're going to behave and you're going to look after yourself and you're going to do your tick list, then you're going to get a book. You're going to get a recorder. You know, it's things that they go, oh, so if I actually do this, things will work out better.
Yeah, if I actually stick to the rules, things actually work out fine.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
sometimes it works.
Yeah, playing Three Blind Mice does work out.
But before we carry on with this case, we want to have a little gossip with you about our sponsor of this season of Killers, Cults and Queens. It's Snag. Now, as you know, we absolutely love Snag, and we mean it. They are the only tights I've found that are suitable for a queen. Their size range is so inclusive, from a size 6 to a size 30, so nobody gets left out. They offer a wide range of styles, colours, designs, and denier for whatever you're looking for and in whatever you need in your leg accessories. And the science behind the designs mean they are built to last. No ladders, no tears, and no snags, if you'll pardon the pun. Snag is all about championing everyone and everything, and I truly love a company that celebrates everyone and everybody. So if you want to check out all of Snag's incredible ranges of tights, as well as their clothing line and accessories, then head to snagtights.co.uk to check them out, divas. Right, shall we jump back in with the case?
Oh, let's go.
Now, we know that Alcatraz was made for a particularly difficult kind of criminal, but who are we name-checking here? Well, George Machine Gun Kelly, a gangster, kidnapper and armed robber, was an inmate for 17 years from 1934 until 1951, when he moved to a lower security prison in Tennessee. Then perhaps the most infamous gangster of them all, Al Capone. Capone was a mob boss and was said to be responsible for the St. Valentine's Day massacre in Chicago, which was a huge shootout between two rival gangs in the street, which ended up with several people losing their lives.
Oof, tough stuff.
Al Capone, who was also known as Scarface, which is giving very no legs energy.
Oh, poor no legs.
No legs.
Oh dear.
Matter of fact nicknames.
So I'm guessing he had a very big scar on his face.
Well, he had a massive scar on his face and was also riddled with syphilis by the time he got to Alcatraz.
Oh, that's fun.
Poor fucker. But can you remember where he lived before this? We've covered it on an episode. It might have been many moons ago.
Oh, another prison.
Mm-hmm. We're going to Philadelphia.
Eastern State Penitentiary.
Ding, ding, ding!
There
Bonus
we go.
points for Nikki Druce.
I did pay attention.
Well, it was your story. I should bloody hope so.
I can't even remember if it was my story. We do so much, and I remember so little.
Well, yes, he was from the land of Philadelphia in Eastern State Penitentiary, and he had every prisoner as his little bitch there. One of the other inmates became affectionately known as the Birdman of Alcatraz. Now, Hollywood would love you to believe this guy was just misunderstood, but no. He was a big old bastard.
Oh, interesting, because I've always had this idea that the Birdman has been pretty genteel, kind of nice guy, so...
No!
Oh, I'm interested to learn about this. Hit me.
The Birdman, whose name was Robert Stroud, was a violent murderer.
Oh.
Now, this may make you chuckle, but if you look him up on Wikipedia, his occupations are listed as pimp, salesman, an ornithologist, which is an expert in birds. So quite the resume.
I'd love to see that written on a CV.
What do you think your resume would read?
Spooky specialist, pasta enthusiast, and petty criminal.
I'm not complicit in any of these, Nikki Druce. I don't want to know what crimes you've been up to.
Just little ones, The old pick and mix here and there.
Well, I'll let you off this time. So, how did Robert find himself behind bars? Well, at the age of 18, he was a pimp to a 36-year-old woman called Kitty. Now, not Kitty Scott Claus. She is 46. When one of her clients refused to pay her the full amount, Robert knocked him out, shot him, and robbed him, allegedly giving Kitty all the money, which seems like a nice, honourable thing to do, look after your clients and all that. But he could have just, grabbed the money after he knocked him out and let him come round and be like, oh, my wallet, not kill him.
Yeah, unless he was worried about the repercussions, but...
Look at where the repercussions got him.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't seem like a good idea, does it? Oh, dear. All right. Yeah, no, probably should have just knocked him out and ran away.
Yeah. Pow! I'm need for the beat. But once he's in prison, it's a bit of a different story. He stabs and kills one of his cellmates who ratted him out for stealing food from the kitchens. He then attacks a medical officer who catches him stealing morphine, and he also stabs another prisoner for unknown reasons. It may help you to know here that Robert was a gay man, and it was reported that he was aggressive and abusive to other inmates if he was anywhere near them, so eventually he was put in solitary confinement. And after being in one of those cells in Alcatraz, you would not want to be in one of those.
No, I can imagine that is pretty tough, because solitary confinement is not... It's a punishment for a reason, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Despite being known as the Birdman of Alcatraz, he didn't actually own any birds there. You can't make this shit up. He nursed several sparrows back to health at Leavenworth Prison in Kansas, and then guards allowed him to have canaries. And by a few, we mean a load.
Wow.
They eventually gave him a cell just for his birds.
What?
Yeah, a little aviary.
We know that prison overcrowding was rife in these times. We know that there's prisoners that have been let out before just because it's overcrowded. And yet here we have Birdman with his extra cell for his little tweeties.
You can't make this shit up.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
How would you feel being the inmate next to the bird room?
I think I'd probably like it, because you hit a certain age and you suddenly start liking birds. If you're over the age of 30 and you've suddenly realised that your algorithm has now switched to birds, welcome to the gang. Put it in the comments if that's happened to you, because it happened to me.
I don't think it's hit me yet, but maybe that day will come.
You'll get there.
But I just get so irritated by sounds.
Yeah, sensory nightmare.
I mean, we all know I hate chewing gum. Could you imagine me waking up and I'm just trying to sleep with...
Oh, see, I quite like that. Animal noises I'm fine with, but yeah, people noises not so much.
Now, Robert's bird business became huge. He wrote a secret book whilst behind bars all about diseases in canaries, which he then asked somebody to smuggle out for him. It then got taken to a publisher, and it was a big hit in the ornithology world, especially because it solved a few common canary diseases. So he knew what he was talking about.
Interesting.
This created loads of work for the prison, who then received loads of correspondence to the Birdman, and eventually, to calm things down and solve the problem, they moved him to Alcatraz and his birds were rehomed. Poor divas.
Oh, that's pretty sad. Hopefully they went to good homes.
I mean, it's sad when you think about it, but also this was a violent man who abused and killed people, so we've got to remember that part of the story.
Comme ci, comme ça.
Now, moving on from Robert, we now meet our key players in today's story. 3 men who would go on to make history for all the wrong reasons. On January the 18th, 1960, Alcatraz got a new inmate. Frank Morris was a 34-year-old career criminal who started stealing from his school friends at just 6 years old.
Oof, that's young.
Now, like we've seen countless times before, Frank had a bad upbringing from the get-go, and his mother was neglectful. So he was put in the care of an orphanage and then was out on his own at the age of 13.
Tale as old as time.
Song as old as rhyme.
It's a classic tale, isn't it? We've seen this so many times. So many times.
He obviously turned to crime to get by and was soon arrested in his late teens for car theft, armed robbery and being in possession of marijuana.
Ah, the Mary Jane.
Oh, yes, smoking a doobie. Our next inmate, let's meet Alan West. Now, Alan was 31 years old, a car thief, and by the time he turned up in Alcatraz, he had been arrested 20 times.
Oh, that's quite a few times.
Just a few.
Just a few.
He was a violent and aggressive inmate, and the guards often gave him a wide berth. Then we have the two brothers, Clarence and John Anglin. You'd think it would be unlikely for family members to go to prison together, but these two were inseparable, Harold and Hilda. John was 30, Clarence 29. They also both started early in their teens with stealing cars and robbing petrol stations. They were sort of honourable because they opted to only break into places that were closed. So no people to mess with.
It's not so bad, is it, if you're breaking into places that are closed? Because, yeah, technically the people that you're robbing, it's not so good, but you're not hurting people.
No. Then one day, they rob a bank.
Oh.
But they used toy guns instead of real guns.
Okay, all right. It's still robbing a bank. Those people probably still thought that they were in serious danger, but they weren't. So, little from column A, little from column B here. I don't feel so bad about the situation.
I mean, let's be real. If somebody's walking into NatWest whilst I'm in there and they're holding up a gun, I'm not going to go, excuse me, is that real or fake?
Yeah.
Can you show me the bullets? Shoots out water.
It just says bang on it. You don't see much of those guns anymore, do you? No.
Boring.
Yeah,
Bring her back.
Don't really pop up very often. It's probably a good reason they don't appear very often, is because nowadays people just get shot.
At Killers, Cults and Queens, we do not endorse the use of guns.
No, even toy ones.
All of these inmates, though, had something in common. They'd all tried to break out of prison before.
Prison Breakers.
Not quite the TV show.
No.
It's 1961 and Alcatraz has got itself a few new inmates who all had something in common: breaking out of prison. They'd been sent to Alcatraz for one reason alone. It said that the prison was unescapable. However, for a prison that made such a bold claim, it sure had its fair share of attempts. In total, there were 14 attempts to escape Alcatraz between 1936 and 1962. We don't have time to list all the details of each one, but safe to say they were all failures. Apart from one. Well, maybe. But back to the inmates we met earlier on, Frank, Alan, Clarence and John. None of them were strangers. They'd all known each other from previous prison stays, connections in the local crime world, and they were all chums. Now, despite things being tough in Alcatraz, the guards weren't monsters. They allowed requests from inmates to move cells so they could be with their friends, and also they could move away from disrupted prisoners. The brothers Clarence and John put in a request to be moved to cells near each other, which was granted, and Frank and Alan soon joined them. That's quite nice, don't you think?
It does make me think, though, if you've got people that knew each other before and you know that they're prison breakers, would you not think that maybe if all the pals are together that they might start thinking up some plans?
Well, we'll soon find out what their plan was. Now, with the besties all together, this made it much easier to whisper through the walls, pass notes to each other, and soon they were planning one thing and one thing only: how to escape.
Called it.
Frank was the mastermind in this situation. He was said to have a higher than average IQ and loved reading as many engineering books as he could in the prison library, which, as we now learn, is a perk for good behaviour. After chatting with another prisoner, they let it slip that someone had tried to escape in 1957 and that they'd removed a fan on the roof which had left a big open hole to the outside. However, No one had access to the roof except the guards, and the route to get up there was obviously locked. This new information gave Frank an idea. He took this back to his 3 friends, and they soon started planning how to make it to the roof so they could get out. And so began 6 months of very slow work so as to not get found out. They worked out that behind the cells was a utility corridor. A thin tunnel which basically just had pipes running through it and with a very narrow walkway. Under the sinks in each cell, there was a vent, and this went straight through an 8-inch thick wall and out into the corridor behind. If they could fit into the vent, they could get out into the corridor and then use the pipes to climb up to the roof. So they started gathering tools to start hollowing out the vents. They harvested spoons in their socks from the cafeteria, smuggled broken saw blades, and Frank worked out how to make a drill using parts from a discarded vacuum cleaner. I could read all the engineering books in the world and I still wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo what to do.
Nope, I got no clue. I'm stuck in there for life.
They also borrowed an accordion. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. They borrowed an accordion so they could cover the noise of digging during the day, which is dedication to the cause nonetheless, because I'm sorry, I would not be sitting in the cell next to somebody playing the accordion.
What do you think they were playing?
Do your ears hang low to the wobble to a throw? Can you tie them in a Can you tie them in the boat on loop?
Over and over and over again. Baby
Shark
shark
do
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 do.
do. Baby shark do 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 do. Great white shark do 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 do. Great white shark
In the bay to do 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 do.
get away do 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 do.
We've officially lost it.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Once the tunnels were big enough, the prisoners would wait until the last walk around by the guards of the night, and they'd slide through them and meet in the corridor out the back. But how were they getting away with being out of bed for that long without being spotted? They made decoy heads as replacements out of plaster, paper mache, paint, and pens to make them skin-coloured. They also stuffed their pockets full of hair from the barber shop to stick to the top of them. I'm not touching other people's hair.
No, that's just, oh. You know, you were talking about sensory nightmare.
You can feel it.
Oh, just the gritty bits of hair splinters. Oh.
And meanwhile, you're getting PVA glue and slapping it to paper mache.
Yeah, I'm surprised they just weren't turning up all the time. Just like, I've got hairy palms.
Chewbacca.
Don't know what I've been up to, but I've got hairy palms.
Has anybody got any feet? But it wasn't time to escape just yet. They'd smuggled a lot of stolen tools and other resources into the corridor, and there they made a raft. The gang had managed to sneak in an empty part of the prison and found a treasure trove of things, one of which was 50 rubber raincoats. They took the raincoats, turned them into life vests, and used the majority of them to make a life raft. They smuggled glue and melted it using pipes in the corridor to join the seams together. They stashed the raft and the life vests in the corridor and then made oars using discarded wood and screws they stole from the furniture in their cells. They were really thrifty, weren't they?
Yeah, it's so clever, so resourceful. I wonder if coming up in the realms of crime and always being a little bit disadvantaged, I wonder if that kind of helped things, made them think in a different way.
You cannot believe what they were doing.
Wow.
Then when the time came to escape was drawing closer, they did a test climb to the roof. This was when they discovered that the fan they thought had been removed was still very much there.
Oh no!
Now, these 4 prisoners detained inside Alcatraz had been working for the last 6 months on trying to escape. They've had to do things slowly to not be found out, and so far, so good. No one's caught and done.
Nice.
But every day they spent planning risks their work being discovered by the guards. When they did a test climb to the roof, they discovered that one of the large fans was still in place. Not what they bargained for. They carefully take all the bolts out of the fan and replace them with ones made from soap.
That's clever. Again, things I wouldn't have thought about.
No. Well, I guess in prison, you've got only but time to think. When the time comes, they will save valuable time breaking the fan out of position, but it will still be there if any of the guards do a building check. But the time had finally come to escape. They waited until lights out on the 11th of June 1962, and all the men agreed to rendezvous in the corridor. Frank, Clarence, and John all made their way into the secret hiding place just before 10 p.m. But Alan was nowhere to be seen. The other three gave it a little while longer, but guessing he had changed his mind, they decided to press on without him. However, Alan hadn't got cold feet. He was stuck.
Oh no!
Back in his cell, Alan had done some repair work a couple of days beforehand as the vent hole had started to fall in on itself. In an attempt to reinforce the opening, he put some cement around the end and then put the vent back on. When he came to pull the vent to get back in, it was stuck solid and he couldn't get out.
Oh no! I bet he was gutted.
I'd be mortified. The others couldn't wait as they were on a time crunch. They had to get up, out and over the roof whilst the guards were swapping over for the night shift, so they opted to go on without their friend in the hopes he would be catching up very soon.
This is too exciting.
They busted the soap bolts off the fan, but they lost grip without the fourth person there to hold the weight when it came crashing down.
Oh no!
This caused the fan to fall on the ground below. Surely this was it. Surely they were about to get caught. The men sat still waiting for signs of the guards, but nothing happened. Apparently the guards did hear the crash, but they didn't think anything of it because this is Alcatraz. Nothing's going on. Nobody's escaping.
It's fine.
Why bother looking?
Yeah, nah, don't bother about that. That loud noise. Nah, nothing. Probably a dog.
Well, after a couple minutes of holding their breath, they climbed down the gutters and the pipes and made their ways to the top of the perimeter fences, where they climbed over and out onto the rocks leading to the beach. Bearing in mind, this is all done with one man down, carrying a full-size raft and all their life jackets. By the time they even got to the beach, they must have been knackered. But the worst part wasn't over yet. Now it was time to get into the water, paddle their way to the mainland. The only problem being, this was about 2 miles away in the strong waters of the San Francisco Bay. Would our plucky trio make it back into the real world, or would they become shark bait? Ooh-ah. Well, to find out, divas, you need to tune in to part 2 of this episode, and we'll be picking up back with our criminal chums and exploring some theories as to what happened next. And that was part 1 of the Alcatraz escape. What a cliffhanger.
Well,
literally.
Consider me clinging on because I am invested. I want to know what happens next. I'm so excited.
It is quite the twist and turn, and the sheer bravery they took just to even attempt to escape and even execute it.
Yeah. And there is a real risk of them dying as well, isn't there? So their time in Alcatraz, they had to have considered that to be worse than getting out on the outside. Pretty difficult for them to come to that conclusion and decide that they were going to do it, because it's risky business, isn't it?
I know. And what if the raincoat raft that they made can't withstand it in the water?
Yeah.
Swimming 2 miles.
Because there's no test. This is the test.
Yeah, I can't swim 100 metres, let alone 2 miles.
No.
Well, we'll find out what really went down in those waters in part 2.
Can't wait.
Coming up next time on Killers, Cults and Queens.
We'll be exploring part 2 of this great escape and finding out what happens next. So make sure you join us back then so you don't miss out.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. That's all for this episode, and we'll see you on Thursday.
And we want to hear from you. We'll be discussing your thoughts and theories this Friday on the Spooky Sleepover bonus show. So pop us an email at killerscultsqueens@gmail.com.
Or DM us on Instagram at killerscultsqueens. Leave us a comment on Spotify or YouTube, or send us a message over on Patreon to let us know exactly what you think.
Thanks goes to Snag for supporting this series. Please go and support them back at snagtights.com. If you've been affected by any of the themes in this episode, please have a look at the description for lots of helpful resources.
Remember, you can watch our full episodes of Us in Studio on YouTube and Spotify, and join our exclusive community over on Patreon at patreon.com/killerscultsqueens to get early and ad-free episodes, and plus so much more.
See you next time, and don't be a killer or join a cult.
Just be a swimming queen with the sharks. Goodbye.
Shark bait. Hoo-ha.